Chosen One, August 27 isn't just another date on your calendar. It's the moment heaven has been preparing you for. Don't scroll past this. You didn't stumble onto this message by coincidence. Why has your breakthrough been delayed when others around you seem to be walking into their blessings effortlessly? If you dismiss what's coming next, you'll miss the divine window that's been orchestrated specifically for your situation. This isn't another motivational message. This is a prophetic interruption designed to position you exactly where you need to be. You are not here by accident. What's ahead in this message will expose the exact spiritual alignment that's been missing from your breakthrough. But first, here's what you need to understand. August 27th carries a frequency of release that only comes once in a season, and your spirit has been positioned to receive what's been held in heaven's reserve for you. The delay you've been experiencing wasn't punishment. It was divine timing, preparing you for this specific moment. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to position yourself to receive what God is releasing on this day. But here's your first revelation. The blessing isn't just coming to you, it's coming through you to impact generations. This moment is charged with accelerated purpose, and your obedience to what you hear next will determine whether you step into overflow or remain in the holding pattern that's been frustrating your soul. Hit the like button to declare, "I'm ready." To receive this divine message, it takes just a second, but help spread this word to thousands of other chosen ones who need it right now. Comment 777 if you're declaring today as the day you step into divine abundance, favor, and breakthrough. What's on your heart today? Leave your prayer request in the comments, and then take a moment to lift someone else up with words of encouragement. When you share your prayer, others will intercede for you. When you pray for someone else, God moves in ways you never imagined. And to all our channel members, thank you for your continued support and faith. May God return it to you in peace, provision, and divine favor. Have you ever truly felt it, that peculiar, almost tangible tension, a deep hush or a vibrant hum in the very air around you, right before something profoundly amazing is about to unfold in your life? It's a sensation that often manifests when your spirit is being stretched, pulled taut like a bowstring, drawn to its furthest point. Perhaps when your most earnest prayers, born from the very depths of your soul, feel as though they're ascending, like fragrant smoke rising to the heavens, only to meet an invisible ceiling, echoing back to you without a clear, discernible reply. Your heart aches with a longing for breakthrough, and yet the silence persists. The way forward remains obscured. If this resonates with your heart, if you've intimately known this feeling, this deep yearning mixed with an inexplicable pressure, please understand with every fiber of your being that it is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a sign that the Heavenly Father has somehow forgotten you, or that you've been abandoned to weather life's storms alone. Oh, quite the contrary, in fact. This very sensation, this intense, often uncomfortable period of intensified pressure, is so frequently the divine prelude, the sacred preparation for a blessing, a breakthrough, a level of profound transformation that is far grander, far more encompassing than your mind can currently grasp, or your imagination can even begin to fully conceive. It's like the diamond forming under immense geological pressure, or the quiet, focused energy of a potter shaping clay on the wheel, preparing it for its glorious purpose. Just ponder this truth for a moment. A wise vineyard owner would never dream of pouring precious, valuable new wine, rich and full-bodied, brimming with flavor and potential, into a flimsy, old, or unprepared container, one that is brittle, cracked, or simply too small to contain its richness. No, he meticulously prepares the vessel, strengthening its walls, expanding its capacity, ensuring its strength and integrity, sealing any tiny fissures that might lead to leakage. In the same tender yet powerful way, God, our loving vintner, is diligently, patiently preparing you, strengthening your very vessel, expanding your capacity so that you are truly able to not only receive with open hands, but also to hold, carry, and wisely steward the incredible overflowing blessing that is already divinely on its way to you. He is not just giving you the wine. He is making you capable of becoming a living, breathing winery, a source of overflow for countless others. This divine preparation isn't a delay. It is an act of infinite love and foresight, a testament to the magnitude of what He has planned. For your life, consider for a moment the very resistance that has felt like an unrelenting opponent. A towering wall blocking your path, the arduous uphill battle that has seemingly drained every ounce of your strength, leaving you weary, sometimes disheartened, and questioning if the journey is even worth continuing. This struggle, this opposition, is not a stumbling block designed to trip you up. It is, in a profound spiritual sense, a powerful, unmistakable signal. It's a divine beacon, a lighthouse in the swirling mists of uncertainty, illuminating the truth that you are, in fact, so much closer to your long-awaited breakthrough than you might possibly realize in your moments of weariness. This very friction is proof of proximity. Cast your mind back to the poignant story of Hannah in the sacred scriptures, a woman whose heart ached with an unbearable burden. She endured years, long and desolate years, of heart-wrenching barrenness, a deep, gnawing ache in her soul that no earthly comfort or human reassurance could alleviate. In those agonizing moments, it must have felt to her as if God Himself was actively denying her deepest, most fervent desire, perhaps even withholding His love, didn't it? She poured out her soul before the Lord, her tears falling like rain. Yet the heavens seemed silent, but those years, those seasons of profound delay, were not a denial at all. They were a meticulously orchestrated divine setup, a crucible of the Spirit, a refining fire that profoundly forged her character, tempering her will, deepening her faith, and preparing her not just to birth a child, but to bring forth Samuel, a son who would rise to become a mighty prophet, destined to shift the entire spiritual landscape of the nation of Israel, speaking the very words of God to kings and nations. Her delay wasn't about her lack. It was about the magnitude of Samuel's destiny. Your current delays, the pauses in your journey, are never the end of your story. They are not God's definitive no. Instead, they are a sacred, holy holding point, a hallowed pause where the Lord of hosts is meticulously, with infinite precision, weaving deep character, unshakable resilience, and profound wisdom into the very fabric of your spirit. Why, you might ask? Because what is coming next for you, the divine assignment, the glorious unfolding, is going to require a level of strength, a depth of wisdom, and a fierce resilience that you don't even know you possess yet. He is building it within you, brick by sacred brick, fiber by resilient fiber, right here, right now, in the very heart of this season, preparing you to carry a weight of glory you cannot yet fathom. You know, it's a beautiful paradox, but some of the most profound and genuinely life-altering breakthroughs often emerge into our lives not when we are frantically, desperately searching for every single answer, striving with all our might to manipulate outcomes, exhausting ourselves in endless pursuit, but rather when we finally choose to quiet the clamor of our minds, to cease our striving, to release the tension in our shoulders and simply begin to sit in the gentle embrace of revelation. It's a posture of humility and openness, allowing God's deep truth, His profound wisdom, to gently, like soft, life-giving rain on thirsty ground, settle into the deepest chambers of your heart and mind, permitting it to transform your entire perspective from the inside out, nurturing growth that springs authentically from within. It's less about chasing and more about receiving, less about forcing and more about allowing the light of His truth to illuminate your path. If this idea truly resonates with something deep inside your soul, if you find yourself hungry, truly yearning for that kind of practical, spirit-led insight that illuminates the pathways of your life, offering not just knowledge, but genuine transformation, then I am profoundly convinced that the 10 hidden truths of Jesus' parables is your perfect, divinely appointed next step. It is a concise, yet incredibly powerful ebook that masterfully unpacks practical, life-changing truths from the timeless stories Jesus shared, truths that touch upon fundamental aspects of life like wise stewardship of money, the profound reality of divine healing, and how to find emotional clarity amidst the sometimes confusing, often chaotic currents of our world. It's meticulously designed to swing open new dimensions of understanding for you, allowing light to flood into previously unseen corners of your spirit, bringing fresh perspective and actionable wisdom. You can easily find the link to acquire your copy right there, conveniently placed in the very first comment below. But do keep in mind, as a friendly heads up, that it's only available for a limited time, so please do grab it while this divine window of opportunity is open, while the Spirit is stirring your heart towards deeper understanding. All right, with that truth planted in your heart, let's talk about taking the very first, yet often most challenging action. The foundational step, right here, right now, is to release your grip. I mean, truly, completely, deeply let go of the specific outcome you've been replaying, rehearsing, clinging to, and holding captive in the theater of your mind. It's like clenching your fist around a handful of sand. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. We, in our human frailty and desire for control, often become so rigidly fixed on how we believe things should happen or what the blessing must look like, how it must arrive, that we inadvertently restrict the boundless possibilities of God, limiting His infinite creativity to our finite blueprints. But surrender, true, radical surrender, is not an act of defeat. It is, paradoxically, the most powerful act of faith. It's like planting a tiny, unassuming seed that through its natural process of growth ultimately cracks open the hardened soil, creating an expansive, fertile space for an overflow of blessing that is far, far beyond anything you, in your limited human capacity, could ever have orchestrated or imagined. Think about the profound story of Abraham when God, in His ultimate test of faith, asked him to place Isaac, his beloved, long-promised son, the very heir of his destiny, the miraculous child of his old age, upon the altar. God, of course, did not actually desire to take Isaac's life away. What he yearned for, what he sought to accomplish, was for Abraham to loosen the tight, constricting grip of fear from his heart, to break free from the idolatry of expectation, the idolatry of the gift over the giver. He wanted Abraham to trust him with his most precious possession, even when the divine instruction made absolutely no logical sense, defying every human instinct and deeply held dream. So today, your readiness, your spiritual preparedness for the miraculous, unbounded work God is poised to do in your life is actually measured by your willingness to let go, to release your preconceived notions, your finite blueprints, even if you cannot yet perceive how God will possibly provide or what His magnificent plan even looks like. Just gently, bravely let go and allow His limitless grace to fill the void. Next, it is a crucial moment for your voice to rise, to speak back with divine authority to the persistent, often debilitating echo of delay that whispers doubts into your ear. You know that insidious feeling when you find yourself caught in a loop, replaying every disappointment, every bitter setback, every single time something didn't work out as you hoped. It's like a broken record, a disheartening refrain, playing endlessly in the quiet chambers of your mind, chipping away at your hope. And in those moments, it can feel impossibly hard, almost unbearable, to speak what God has actually promised, to declare his truth over your own life and circumstances. But let me impress upon you this profound spiritual truth. This is precisely where your voice must rise, where your spirit must find its roar. This is where you courageously declare truth over your current circumstances, over the lies of the enemy, and over the limitations you perceive, knowing that your words carry the weight of divine agreement. David, that young shepherd boy who would become king, didn't just passively face the towering, taunting Goliath, did he? No, he spoke directly to that overwhelming opposition, to that seemingly insurmountable giant who was defying the armies of God. He aligned his bold confession, his courageous declaration, with God's powerful, unchanging promise, even while fear was undoubtedly trembling in his bones, even while his heart must have been pounding in his chest. He famously declared, "You come to me with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." He chose to speak God's truth, not his own fear. What you choose to say in the quiet, intimate moments of your life, in the sacred silence of your own heart and home, in the secret conversations with your soul, that, my beloved friend, is what truly positions you, what divinely prepares you for what you will powerfully, victoriously walk into in the public arena of your life. Your words, imbued with faith, have incredible creative breakthrough power. They are seeds that will blossom into your reality. This next part, beloved, is where things truly begin to intensify, where the spiritual temperature rises, inviting you into a deeper dimension of faith, a more active participation in your divine destiny. It's about a profound shift in your mindset, moving from merely waiting with passive hope, arms crossed and head down, to actively warring with spirit-led conviction. And by warring, I absolutely do not mean fighting against God, for He is, always for you, a loving Father whose heart yearns for your good. Rather, it means fighting for the promises He has lovingly, faithfully given you, contending for their manifestation, dismantling the strongholds of doubt and unbelief. Stop simply asking God with an air of resignation and a sigh of defeat. When, Lord? When will this long-awaited promise finally happen? How much longer must I wait? And instead, with a bold, expectant heart, a spirit ablaze with faith, begin to declare, "Now, right now, Lord, I believe it is unfolding. Right now, I embrace your perfect timing, knowing your now is divine." If you've felt like your spiritual advancement has hit an impenetrable wall, or you've been stuck in a frustrating state of neutral, perpetually spinning your wheels in the mud without gaining ground, it's often because the next level of breakthrough, the next dimension of divine favor, always encounters an increased, more concentrated amount of resistance. It's akin to pushing through a powerful, unseen threshold, like breaking through a sound barrier or pushing against a mighty current. Recall the awe-inspiring story of the children of Israel and the seemingly impenetrable, formidable wall of Jericho. They meticulously circled that mighty city for days, walking faithfully in obedience, yet with nothing overtly shifting, nothing visibly changing on the surface. It must have felt utterly pointless, relentlessly exhausting, a repetitive act devoid of any apparent progress, a test of sheer endurance and blind faith. But then, on God's specific, precise instruction, after days of seemingly futile steps, they let out a mighty, unified shout. That divinely instructed shout shattered what mere obedience alone, what simply walking in circles, could never have moved. Your very next act of obedience, even if it feels incredibly small, utterly insignificant, or even a little bit silly to your rational mind right now, that, my friend, is the very signal heaven has been waiting for. It could be the precise trigger that brings down your wall, dismantling the barrier between you and your breakthrough. Coming up next, we're going to dive into a step that honestly most people instinctively try to avoid. It's often uncomfortable, sometimes deeply challenging to embrace, rubbing against our natural inclinations, but I promise you, with every fiber of my being, that it is the single most transformative action, the one that changes absolutely everything in the trajectory of your breakthrough. It's a key that unlocks doors we often don't even realize are locked from the inside. So here it is, unveiled in its humble power. Open your heart wide, truly wide open, to correction. I know that's not always the easiest truth to hear, is it? Our natural inclination is to shy away from anything that implies fault or suggests areas for growth. We prefer to believe we're already perfectly equipped. But sometimes, what has actually been withheld from you isn't the blessing itself, not the abundant provision or the answered prayer, but rather the profound wisdom and the vital spiritual capacity to truly carry that blessing well, to steward it faithfully and effectively, to handle its weight and responsibility with grace and integrity. Think deeply about the transformative journey of Moses. God, in his infinite wisdom and love, corrected him, pruned him, worked meticulously on him in the harsh, solitary desert for years, for decades, refining his character, stripping away his self-sufficiency, before finally releasing him with divine authority to confront the mighty Pharaoh and lead an entire nation, millions of souls, out of the shackles of slavery and into freedom. Moses had to be broken from his own strength to fully lean on God's. There are intricate places within your character, within the tender chambers of your heart, within the subtle patterns of your habits, that God is meticulously fine-tuning, not because he desires to hold you back or to deny you, but because he deeply, profoundly desires to prevent you from accidentally, inadvertently self-sabotaging the very magnificent thing he's about to release in his perfect timing into your life. He's pruning you, not to diminish you, but to make you more fruitful. Mature humility, that beautiful willingness to be teachable, to humbly admit where you might need to grow, where a rough edge needs smoothing, where a perspective needs shifting, where a blind spot needs illumination. That, my friend, is what truly unlocks the doors that pride, in its many subtle, often unseen forms, keeps firmly, stubbornly shut. Humility is the lubricant that allows divine favor to flow. Now let's bravely talk about confronting some subtle agreements you might have unknowingly, unconsciously made along your journey. These are those quiet, insidious, often unconscious beliefs or declarations we sometimes make about our own lives, about God's posture towards us, or about our future, without even realizing we've invited them in. Where in your quiet moments have you started calling delay normal for your life, an inevitable part of your story, a personal curse you can't escape? Where have you subtly begun to expect limitation, to anticipate setbacks, even without fully consciously realizing the profound impact it has on your spiritual receptivity, on your very ability to see and receive God's abundance? These internal, unspoken agreements, these self-imposed narratives, can hold us back more powerfully than any external barrier, more fiercely than any opposition, because they reside within the fortress of our own minds. Look closely at the story of Gideon, a man of humble beginnings, seemingly overlooked and insignificant. He almost disqualified himself from leading a mighty revival for the nation of Israel, because he genuinely believed that his background, his small, insignificant family, his weak, overlooked clan, was an insurmountable, undeniable barrier to divine calling. He literally saw himself as the least of the least, utterly insignificant, and nobody from nowhere. But God, working in secret, behind the scenes, began to divinely rewrite his identity. He called Gideon a mighty warrior before Gideon had ever even fought a single battle, before he had displayed any outward sign of valor. He spoke truth, God's higher truth, over Gideon's life, profoundly transforming his perception of himself, before ever displaying him in glorious, undeniable victory. You, my dear one, need to identify, Vehemently reject and powerfully dismantle every single label, every negative self-talk, every limiting belief, every subtle agreement that contradicts, that stands in opposition to what the Spirit of God has already lovingly, prophetically spoken over you, over your destiny, over your life. Your internal dialogue must align with heaven's decree. And here's a really tough one, perhaps the most challenging of all. But it is precisely where your faith truly gets refined, truly gets tested, and ultimately profoundly strengthened. You need to intentionally, bravely release any lingering bitterness, any creeping envy, any deep-seated frustration you might feel toward the timing of others' success or the apparent ease of their breakthroughs. This one, truly, is huge. You simply, unequivocally, cannot receive with open, generous, receptive hands if your fists are clenched tight in comparison, or hidden offense, or simmering resentment. Your heart's posture dictates what it can hold. When you witness someone else walking confidently, victoriously into their breakthrough, stepping into their promised land, it's so incredibly easy for that nagging, poisonous question to surface. In your mind, why not me? Why not now? Am I not worthy? Has God forgotten me? But remember the remarkable journey of Joseph. He was promoted, eventually rising to become second in command in all of Egypt, entrusted with immense power and responsibility, not because he never suffered or experienced profound injustice. Goodness, he suffered greatly. He was heart-wrenchingly betrayed by his own brothers, cruelly sold into slavery, falsely accused, unjustly imprisoned for years in a foreign land. But he was promoted, divinely elevated, because he absolutely, resolutely refused to let the injustice inflicted by others or the blatant unfairness of his circumstances harden his expectation for the goodness of God in his own life. He consciously, deliberately kept his heart soft, his hope alive, his spirit pliable, choosing forgiveness and trust over bitterness and despair. So today, choose, with every fiber of your being, to bless those who are walking into their breakthrough. Cheer them on, truly celebrate with them from a place of pure heart, while trusting with unwavering faith, with every fiber of your being, that your breakthrough, your unique promise, is already sealed by the hand of God Himself, written in the eternal pages of heaven, waiting for its divine unveiling, perfectly timed and uniquely tailored for you. Coming up next, I'm going to reveal a profound dimension to your breakthrough that very few people ever truly discern, ever truly grasp with their spirits. But when you truly understand this, when this truth settles deep within your soul, like a seed germinating in fertile ground, it will honestly explain every unfulfilled promise, every lingering question, every delayed expectation that's been hovering over your life. This one, my friend, is a game changer, a paradigm shift that will illuminate your path forward, revealing the deeper purpose behind your journey. All right, let's talk about activating a profound spiritual truth, generational intercession. This is a deep one, a truth that reaches far beyond the immediate horizon of your own life, casting a long, blessed shadow into the future. What is coming through you? The breakthrough God is bringing into your life, the anointing He is releasing. It's not exclusively meant for you, for your personal comfort or advancement. Oh no, it's actually meant to cover, to bless, and to profoundly impact those beyond you, your beloved children, your entire family line, your wider community, your spiritual lineage, even future generations yet to be born. It's a legacy of grace being established through you. Think about the courageous Queen Esther, her profound obedience, her selfless decision to risk absolutely everything, her position, her life, her very existence in that one pivotal, terrifying, yet divinely orchestrated moment. It didn't just save her own life, it was a catalyst. It unlocked deliverance, not just for her, but for her entire lineage, for her people, securing a profound, lasting blessing that echoed through history and continues to be celebrated to this day. So, I wholeheartedly encourage you, with a renewed vision, Start praying differently. Start praying with a generational mindset, with a broader scope than just your immediate circumstances. Pray over your children, over your workplace, over your friendships, over your spiritual community, over the very ground upon which you walk. Don't just pray for yourself, for your own needs and desires, however valid they may be. Begin with a heart overflowing with anticipation, to pray for the mighty rivers of overflow that God plans to send, flowing through every single relationship, every connection that is linked to your faithfulness, to your obedience. See yourself, not just as a recipient of blessing, but as a divinely appointed conduit, a channel through which God's boundless goodness can flow to touch multitudes, to water barren lands, and bring forth new life. You are a strategically placed wellspring in His magnificent plan. Now I want you to pause for a moment. Just take a deep, cleansing breath. And in this stillness, in this sacred pause, I want you to genuinely, vulnerably ask the Holy Spirit, your comforting counselor, your gentle guide, to tenderly, lovingly reveal any buried fear that might have been subtly, cleverly, masking itself as caution or prudence, or even just being realistic. Hidden fear, the insidious kind we often don't even realize is deeply rooted within us, clinging to the corners of our souls, is so often the very taproot that keeps us circling the same frustrating, repetitive cycles. The very cycles that you were in truth divinely anointed and powerfully called to break free from. It pretends to protect you, but it actually restricts you. Remember Elijah, that mighty prophet of God, who right after his incredible fire from heaven victory on Mount Carmel, a triumph of immense spiritual power and public display of God's might, inexplicably ran in terror from the threat of Jezebel. It wasn't mere physical fatigue that silenced his powerful prophetic edge in that crucial moment. It was unaddressed, unacknowledged fear that crept into his spirit and subtly yet powerfully tried to derail him from his divine assignment. So, in this moment, invite God, gently, lovingly, to show you exactly where fear has been subtly disguising itself as wisdom in your life, masquerading as a protective instinct when it's truly a limiting belief, holding you captive in an illusion of safety. And finally, with a heart full of anticipation and courage, it's time to take prophetic action. This is about deliberately doing something unfamiliar, something that genuinely requires a bold step of faith, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable, even if it stretches you beyond your perceived limits, even if it feels illogical to your natural mind. It could manifest as sowing a significant seed financially into a ministry or a cause that the Spirit highlights, reaching out in genuine forgiveness to someone who has deeply, profoundly hurt you and from whom you've held back, or stepping bravely into a responsibility you've consistently avoided, perhaps out of fear or feelings of inadequacy. This action is a declaration, a physical manifestation of your faith. Remember Peter, when Jesus, in his divine authority, called him to step out of the boat onto the swirling, tempestuous water, it wasn't comfort or logical reasoning that carried him across those waves. It was pure courage, an audacious act of faith, a direct response to a specific living word from God. That threshold of discomfort, that slightly uneasy, vulnerable feeling you get when you're about to do something new, something challenging, something that requires you to lean entirely on God, that, my friend, is often the very doorway to the supernatural, the gateway to miracles. Don't shy away from it. Instead, with an open heart and a courageous spirit, step directly into it, for on the other side awaits your breakthrough. This, my beloved friend, is where everything truly comes full circle, where all the pieces of this divine puzzle align, revealing a tapestry of purpose and promise. The enemy, that insidious voice of doubt, of discouragement, of condemnation, desperately wants you to believe that God hasn't noticed your prolonged struggle, or that your faithful obedience, your patient waiting, your earnest prayers have somehow been wasted, lost to the winds of time, fading into insignificance. But the profound truth, the glorious, liberating truth, is that this very season of delay, this crucible you've navigated, this waiting period, is actually pregnant with accelerated recompense. What does that mean, this beautiful phrase, accelerated recompense? It means you won't just get back what you lost. You're going to get back more, far more than you can imagine. It means God, in His infinite generosity and justice, will multiply what was stolen or what was painfully delayed, restoring not just what was due, but an overflowing abundance. Just as Job's miraculous restoration in the Bible was a double portion for every year of crushing silence, every year of excruciating pain and suffering, what's coming after this season for you will not only answer prayers you might have, even forgotten you prayed, but it will exceed them beyond your wildest imagining, beyond anything you dared to hope for. God remembers every tear, every prayer, every act of faith, every moment of your unwavering trust, and He is infinitely faithful to not just meet, but to gloriously exceed your deepest expectations. So tonight, before you close your eyes and drift off to the peaceful embrace of sleep, I want you to say this simple yet incredibly powerful prayer out loud. Speak it over yourself, with conviction resonating deeply in your heart, letting each word take root in your spirit, declaring it as a truth over your very being. I release all fear. I release all doubt. I step into my divine purpose, and I trust with every fiber of my being that my miracle is already on its way, manifesting even now in God's perfect and glorious timing. If this message spoke to your heart today, if it resonated deeply with something you've been feeling or intimately going through, if it stirred a fresh flame of hope within you, please do me a profound favor and share it with someone you know who truly needs this powerful reminder, someone who desperately needs to hear that delayed does not, absolutely does not, mean denied. Stay expectant. Keep believing with an unwavering heart. Keep your spirit pliable and open, and trust this magnificent truth. Heaven has you exactly where you need to be, precisely positioned, perfectly prepared for your glorious breakthrough.